Hey y'all, it's me, Emerald from The Rice Life, and I'm going to do a video. It's going to be a super quick video, guys. It's going to be a video all about my, how do I say I was going to title this? I wrote down early pregnancy signs before my missed period. I got asked that a ton when we announced that we were pregnant with our 5th baby. I got asked, how did you know? What were your symptoms and that kind of thing? And I actually wrote it down months ago, like in March. And I just haven't done the video. So I figured that since I'm still getting the question, because I do have a lot of women that are trying to conceive that do follow me, mainly on Instagram, because, you know, with our comments being turned off on here on YouTube, I do get a ton of Instagram DMs all about how to conceive and what to do and how do I know and that kind of thing. So I figured that I would tell you guys some of the symptoms that I wrote down. Most of these symptoms were from about 3 DPO until 9 DPO, because I'm pretty sure that at 10 DPO is when we found out that we were pregnant. So most of these signs were from 3 days past ovulation until we found out at 10. So the first thing that I have written down was frequent urination. I've known with all of my children. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's hormones. I don't know if it's like as soon as the sperm meets the egg, guys. But all of these symptoms happen like almost instantly. And so I had to pee a lot more, and normally that happens with, you know, the baby getting larger, that kind of thing, or, you know, when you're already pregnant, like noticeably pregnant and the baby's bigger. Usually that's associated with frequent urination, but I just remember like getting up in the middle of the night to pee, probably around 5 or 6 DPO. And yeah, because I know it wasn't right after conception, but it was definitely like around the time that I was like, okay, I think I could be pregnant this month. So I just remember peeing a lot, and so that's just one of the symptoms I had. Another symptom is cramping. I was cramping a lot this time around, and I don't know if it's just because this is like my 5th baby, so I knew my body a little better, but I remember, oh gosh, it had to have been a couple of days before I took my pregnancy test, so that was around 8 DPO. I had super sharp cramping, which I'm sure now was implantation cramping. It was just, I remember it was pretty intense, and I was like, good God, like what in the world is that? I was like, either this is going to be a really bad period this month or I'm pregnant. So, and usually I don't cramp super horrible like right before my period, so that was another sign like maybe it is implantation, because I normally cramp like during my period like the whole time, but I really don't have a lot of PMS symptoms that are like cramping and fatigue and all that kind of stuff. So I'm usually pretty mellow until the day I get my period. Then it's like, it's a hot mess. But I just remember cramping a ton, probably around 8 DPO. And that's, like I said, looking back, I realized it was probably implantation cramping. So, but I definitely didn't want to be the type to think that every little cramp was something, but in this case it was. So if that's your case, I say just write down your symptoms and see if that's a thing for you when you can compile your list at the end of everything. If you do get your big fat positive, then you can see if cramping was a thing for you. Okay, I have gassy at 5 DPO. No, I was not eating like tacos and all that stuff, but I was super gassy. That's just what I wrote down. I just wrote down that I had a lot of flatulence, okay? That was a symptom for me. Slight nausea. I remember that happening a couple days also before I took a pregnancy test at 10 DPO. So I'll say probably around the same time I had the cramping with the nausea, and that let me know that I could very well be pregnant. Like I said, it just may have been a hormone thing and I was really in tune with it, but yeah, but I had slight nausea and I was not sick. So I figured that I could very well be pregnant. Oh, this was a big one. I have headaches 1 week before BFP. So that first week after conception, I remember having the worst migraines, and I normally don't ever get migraines. I don't even take like medication like ibuprofen or anything for headaches. I never get headaches, and I remember my head throbbing, and I wasn't weaning myself from caffeine. Like, it was nothing like that. So I figured that that was a strange symptom for me. I ended up being pregnant. But I had headaches 1 week before big fat positive. The next one is constantly hungry. I mean, you could just say that I like to eat. But I was just really like ravenous. Like, I couldn't get enough to eat. So and I'm normally pretty good about like moderation and that kind of thing, but I do just remember being constantly hungry. So that was a symptom for me. A big one for me was bloating. Oh my goodness. Like, I'm a natural bloater anyway, but I just remember the bloating being so bad right before I found out I was pregnant. Yeah, like it's, and that's another way that I like, well, as soon as I get, like, as soon as I pee on a stick and there's a positive, it looks like I'm like 6 months pregnant instantly. I naturally bloat so fast as soon as I found out I'm pregnant. But I remember looking pregnant to me, like looking more full, and like my belly just being really bloated like a week before, or the week leading up to me taking the pregnancy test. So I just had a ton of bloating, and like I said, that's normal for me, but the amount of bloating I had was not normal for me. The next one is fatigue. So I mean, I was super tired. Some could say it's because I was already a mother of 4 as it was, and working full time and that kind of thing. But I have fatigue. I mean, I've been fatigued since then anyway. But I did have that. I was like overly exhausted, and that was just one of my symptoms. So, and this may be me just writing out every little thing I felt, but in the end I ended up being pregnant. So I figured that I would write it down, because I just remember being super exhausted. I remember going to bed, like I remember coming home from work and like taking a nap and then going to bed by 9 o'clock. Like that was how sleepy I was. So, and I ended up being pregnant. This is what actually alerted me to like really assume that I was pregnant and to take a test as early as I did. Like I said, I took a test 4 days before my missed period, and this is because I had a heightened sense of smell. And not only a heightened sense of smell, but things would make me nauseous. Like if I smelled certain things, and I'm still that way, like at almost 32 weeks pregnant. I just remember like just candles smelling really, really strong, food smelling really strong, like a few days before I took my test, probably about 6 to 8 DPO. I remember just smelling just everything being intensified, and that alerted me to be like, I'm probably pregnant. Like, what in the world is going on? So I had a heightened sense of smell. That was another one of my markers. I wrote down sharp pains, and sharp pains for me were not cramps. They were like almost jolting pains, like where my ovaries are, like my fallopian tubes, I guess. It wasn't like in my uterus, it was like on the sides. And now that I think about it, I remember having like really sharp ones on the right side, and that's actually the side that I ovulated from. So I'm not sure if that's a thing. But I mean, when I've gotten ultrasounds, they have said, you know, I don't have any cysts or anything like that. So I have sharp pains. It could have very well been implantation. I'm not sure, but it wasn't really crampy. It was more just like jolting, like jabbing, sharp pains that I would have, I guess, in my uterus. And so I ended up being pregnant. Okay, and the last one I have written down is a heavy feeling in my uterus. Oh my goodness, I get this with every pregnancy. Like, you know, the bigger you get, you know, your uterus just feels heavy. But I remember just feeling, and I don't know if it was just a combination of like the bloating and stuff too, but I just remember feeling really full, like my uterus feeling full, like there was already somebody occupying the space, even though it shouldn't have felt that way. But like I said, hormones, guys, are insane. Hormones are a really tricky, crazy thing. And I just remember feeling really pregnant. I remember feeling heavy, bloated, but I remember just, like I said, my uterus just feeling really heavy, and almost like a dull heavy. And sure enough, I took a test and it was positive. And like I said, I took my test pretty early. I took it at 10 DPO. So I was just, I mean, it was just early. So I usually do tests. I start testing like when we've tried in the past. I've tested around 10 DPO. Well, now I will start 9 DPO and then see if I can see like a line progression. But when I tested at 10 DPO, I'll see if I saved that picture. I'm not sure. If I saved it, then you'll see it like probably like an overlay. But if I saved it, you'll see how dark it was. And my test at 10 DPO to me was very dark, like very noticeable. And so, yeah, like, I don't know if I just had like early implantation, maybe around 7 or so DPO. I'm not sure. I wasn't tracking my temperature and all that. I wasn't doing all that that cycle with this baby. I wasn't doing all that tracking with my temperature and stuff. It was kind of just like, if it happened, whatever. Because we weren't trying, but because I wasn't going to obsess over it this time. I wasn't going to be like, I've got to get pregnant this month. So it didn't work out that way. But I do remember like the days leading up to finding out I was pregnant. I remember these symptoms and signs. So you can't let me know in the video because the comments are most likely disabled. But I will always put this video on like the community tab in a post. And if you have any questions or comments or concerns, if you want to tell your experience, if you want to say, hey, I'm trying to conceive right now, or I had the same exact thing when I found out I was pregnant, then you can go to the community tab and you'll see the thumbnail for this video and you'll be able to comment that way. You can also find me on Instagram. I am super active on Instagram through DMs. Like, I don't post like all day every day, but I do respond to every DM I get. So if you have questions that way, or if you want to connect that way, and y'all, I'm 32 weeks pregnant, so I'm out of breath, okay? But if you want to connect that way, then just hit up my DM. And my Instagram is Emmy Rice on Instagram. My Instagram is Emmy Rice on Instagram. I'm Amy Rice on Instagram. So, all right, guys, this has been the signs and symptoms that I had right before I found out I was pregnant. And yeah, and now I am 32 weeks pregnant with our 5th and final baby. And I'm so excited. And so the video after this will probably be a pregnancy update talking about how I failed my gestational diabetes test, the 1 hour, and then I passed the 3 hours. So I'll give you some tips and tricks for that. And I will just give like a full-on update about our home birth that we're gonna have. We're gonna have another home birth. And I will just talk about the baby in general and how I'm feeling in general. So, all right, guys, this is Emma from The Rice Life, and I'll see you in our next video. Bye, y'all.